My name is Mary Jwaai. I am the fifth child in a family of 8. Both my parents were teachers. My mother came from a well-educated and religious family, whilst my father came from a farming family where they believed that having many cattle and everything was the right thing to do. But fortunately for him, his brother John worked at the mines and was an induna, and he realized the need for education, and thus he sent his brothers back to school. My father and his other brother went back to school. My father passed standard 6 at the age of 18 and then continued with his teacher's diploma. My father taught at many schools near his home, which was not very far from the village, but was asked by the Salvation Army Church. At that time, schools belonged to churches, to be a principal of a rural school, a very rural school, far away from civilization, far away from everything. And that was the beginning of sacrifice in my family. He sacrificed a situation where he could live near his home, go and sleep at home, and went to this rural area to be the second principal in that school. My father was an outgoing person, an extrovert. He could speak his mind. He could tell you what he wanted and what he did not want. He also was a disciplinarian, but he had a sense of humor. It was easy to know exactly how he felt about a thing. Now, when he went to this rural area, what he saw as his other job was to develop the children of the area, and was to assist the community that lived in abject poverty. So he got a plot where he could actually be an agriculturist and also a teacher. He got a plot from the Seventh-day Adventist farm. So many of the people in the area would work in his farm and be able to get some money of some kind. And one other thing about him was that he had sympathy for the local children. All his bright students would stay with us at home, and also because the place was in between two big rivers, children at least who had to avoid crossing these big rivers every day would stay with us. That's when I began to show my true character. At first, I would be jealous of these children. They were occupying my space, and they also were sharing my parents. I had to share my parents with them. And to overcome this, because each time I would be beaten or punished by my parents when I said nasty things to these children, I then developed a strategy of making them do some chores that were meant to be done by me. And we then established a very good relationship. But even then, at that early age, I was the spokesperson for the children and my siblings. Whenever they wanted some favors from my parents, I would go and talk on their behalf. And my mother also was a disciplinarian in her own sense. She didn't speak too much. She was brief, and if she gave you instructions, you had to carry those instructions. She was an introvert, And she also had this religious background of hers, which she wanted us to take as part of our values. We had to be honest, we had to take instructions and so on. And I actually think their combination was a good one because they complemented one another. And I think my background, that is why I'm mentioning it, had shaped me to what I was going to be in future. There were quite a number of things I enjoyed and had to live with my parents. Like, for an example, my father would tell us that you had to wake up very early to be able to catch up with the day's work. He would say, a man must sleep for 6 hours. And he did in reality sleep for 6 hours, and a woman for 7 hours, and 8 hours for a child, and 9 hours for a fool. So if you slept a longer period, to him you were a fool. You had to wake up. We had to rise up early and do our work and do it accordingly. My mother also was the type of a person who didn't want to be ashamed. She also wanted us to do local things, to study locally and not go to other places. She was against any child who went further than the Eastern Cape. Like, she would tell us stories that the other black nations in other countries would be eating people. And we believed that she was right, and yet she just didn't want us, especially myself and my sister, who wanted to explore. She didn't want us to go beyond the Eastern Cape. We believed that she was correct.